What's up, everybody? Your man Sean Zattel back at it again. A crazy, awesome fight week. All of them are awesome on this level of the sport. But here, covering Canelo Charlo all week here in Las Vegas. Your boy, little tired, little winded, had to run back and forth from MGM to Top Rank Gym to T-Mobile Arena to cover Shakur Stevenson this morning, to get the Shakur Stevenson footage up at the MGM, then run back to T-Mobile, literally sprinting there and back so security doesn't take away my seat. So it's been fun, man. It's been a fun fight week. And now, hold on. And now the time is upon us for just about fight night. 24 hours out from fight night. Canelo Charlo. A lot to get to in today's show. I have altered my pick on Canelo Charlo. I will get to that in a little bit. But we also have Fury and Usyk have agreed to fight for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. What's going on, Brewski? What's going on, everybody in the chat? What's up, Fender Bender? So Fury and Usyk have agreed. Canelo and Charlo weighed in today. I really can't wait to get into that, but I will hold off on it for just a little bit. And I will start with Fury and Usyk before we really sink our teeth into it one final time. 24 hours before fight night for Canelo Charlo. Can't wait. Was at the weigh-in today. Clarissa Shields was there. Jermell Charlo pulled up for his brother alongside Roy Jones. Antonio Tarver was there. It's been quite the week. So, what's with the clickbait on the stare down, man? Says Dog. Yeah, I don't know, man. We're trying to eat out here, brother. Trying to cut some slack. These guys, we thought we would get fireworks between these two. Some trash talk. Jermell Charlo hasn't really provided that, so we're working with what we can. But I understand what you're asking. I want to know. So King Fury asks, I want to know your pick between Fury and Usyk, and that is where we'll start tonight. Let's start for a moment with Fury and Usyk, and then move to Canelo Charlo, and I'll tell you guys my final pick on that fight and final thoughts on that fight. Fight week can sometimes definitely bring some foreshadowing. I felt Tank and Ryan brought some foreshadowing. It became more and more clear that the favorite in that fight was going to win in Tank. Spence Crawford, I picked Crawford to win by knockout with his counterpunching. It became that much more apparent at the final press conference and at the weigh-in who was going to win that fight. And I feel the same way about this week, but I'll get to that in a little bit. And we'll start with Fury and Usyk. I feel that Fury will win this fight. And I told everybody on my streams that I personally wasn't bothered by Fury. I understand the man says one thing, does another, says one thing one day, does another thing the other day. But he, through ending the Vladimir Klitschko era, Vladimir Klitschko, one of the great heavyweights in boxing history, who reigned for 10 years, didn't even come close to taking a loss in those 10 years, I guess, unless you mention the first Sam Peter fight in 2005, but once he knocked out Chris Bird in 2006, he reigned for almost a decade, and Fury put an end to that. And as a boxing fan, I was grateful to Fury for that, because Klitschko began to become very boring in his style and approach. Great fighter, but became boring. And the era he went up against, old guys like Tony Thompson, cruiserweights coming up like David Haye, it wasn't a great era. And most of the heavyweights were out of shape at that moment. You didn't have guys looking like Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. So Fury put an end to that, and I was kind of grateful for that. And then Fury winds up winning a great heavyweight trilogy with Wilder. And in that third fight, I think that's the best heavyweight fight of the new millennium. They gave us the best trilogy in the heavyweight division since the new millennium. So doing things that really matter in the sport, it builds up some legitimate credit with someone like me. And it doesn't mean you could get away with everything. If he would have continued to duck Usyk, then I'd have hopped on the bandwagon like everyone else and said it's disgraceful and all that stuff. But I gave him some rope, and I knew that he would fight this guy. And I knew that it was some you'll start hearing me use this word a lot in boxing, some political theater between Team Fury and Team Usyk. Once I told you guys on these streams, once that Saudi money back in April or March was pulled off the table, and they talked about it's not going to be there again until December, until winter time, any talk of them fighting in the UK was cap, as the youngins say. It was lies. It was spin. There's no way either one of their teams was going to accept half the pot in the United Kingdom than the full pot they were going to get in Saudi Arabia. Negotiations broke down because Usyk wanted 50-50 or something close to it, and Fury, and I agree with him, he didn't deserve that. And Fury's a bigger global star than that. He's been lineal heavyweight champion twice. I know Usyk has a couple of belts, but Fury is considered the heavyweight champion, and he's the bigger name globally than Usyk. And he sells fights better than Usyk. So Fury, if he was going to keep ducking beyond this year, or, you know, if he, then I was going to call it a duck. But he took the Francis Ngannou fight, big money fight, and everybody that was saying Fury should be stripped, Fury should be stripped, you'd be the same ones bitching and complaining right now that this fight is done and it's not for Undisputed. You'd say, we still don't have an undisputed heavyweight champion in the four-belt era. Will we ever have one? Yada, yada. Well, because they didn't strip Fury, now he's going to fight Usyk for the undisputed title. And a lot of you, I think, you know, I don't mean to be, you know, go on the offensive against fans, but I think a lot of you got so tired of Fury's antics that you took it a step further and began to say he's scared of Usyk and Usyk is going to beat him and all these kinds of things. Maybe Usyk does beat him. I don't believe so. I think this fight is simple. Now, one thing that does worry me, and I asked Bob Arum about this today, is Fury's physical shape. He is not in shape. He looks terrible at the presser with Francis Ngannou. And some of you might say, he always looks terrible. But in the second Deontay Wilder fight, in the Otto Wallin fight, in the Tom Schwartz fight, not even the third Wilder fight where he wasn't in that great a shape, but in those fights, Fury got himself in good shape. He's going to have to get himself into some good shape to beat Usyk. He can't beat him the way he looked at that Francis Ngannou press conference. So, but as long as Fury takes care of his business in the gym, this fight is very simple to me. A great big man beats a great smaller man. And Alexander Usyk, coming up from cruiserweight against heavyweights, they struggle mentally and stamina-wise with the constant lead hand magic of Usyk. The feints, up and down, feint, boom, boom, and then he lets it go. These guys get tired of reacting mentally and biting on the feints. A big muscle-bound guy like Joshua can only react to those feints so long and to the pace that a smaller heavyweight like Usyk sets and the footwork that Usyk has coming up from cruiserweight. All these other heavyweights can't deal with it. Fury is a gifted man, as we all know. At 6'9", 260, 270, he's light on his feet. He has fast hands. He has the footwork to pivot off with Usyk and keep him in front of him. And I think Fury can hit Usyk with the right hand on the outside, and that's not even where he wins the fight. Because Fury has the best feints in the game. Usyk has the best feints. They both have the best feints in the heavyweight division. Every feint Usyk has at Fury, Fury's got one too. Back in the orthodox stance, Fury's got that great herky-jerky double head feint, and then he pops the 1-2 or the jab behind it. He's got longer arms than Usyk. He's a better puncher than Usyk. He outweighs him by 40 to 50 pounds. He has almost a half foot of height on him. And he can match a lot of the hand speed and the foot speed of Alexander Usyk, guys. It's that simple. A great big man beats a great smaller man. And he now also knows Alexander Usyk's weakness. He doesn't like body shots. He doesn't like it to the body. And Tyson Fury knows how to use all his weight and be physical on the inside and lean on guys and hit them to the body, like he had to do with Otto Wallin when he wasn't. Now, to be fair to Usyk, Otto Wallin was a well-schooled southpaw, a bigger man than Usyk, but not as great of not the kind of level of fighter Usyk is. And he was a southpaw, and he gave Fury some problems. Fury, once that cut almost stopped the fight, he turned it up and he just leaned on him and was big and dogged it out and went to his body, hurt Wallin to his body a couple of times. And I think he could do that with Usyk. So now I understand the counter argument is Usyk, like Steve Cunningham, is a cruiserweight. And Fury said cruiserweights give him more trouble than the big guys. He said that on Joe Rogan. I understand all that. And all that. So, but I still think a great big man beats a great smaller man because he can match the feints. He can match the hand speed. He can match most of the footwork. He can keep up with a good work rate. He doesn't work at a slow rate for a heavyweight. He's shown us the kind of dog to win the Deontay Wilder wars. So I think Fury wins this fight. You know, Usyk is nearing 40 himself. He is not a super young man himself. And Daniel Dubois had good positioning and good timing with his right hand. He was just too slow. Even when he timed Usyk and lined him up with the right hand, most times it wouldn't land because Daniel Dubois is very slow. Fury can establish the same kind of positioning to set up his right hand that Dubois had, but he's much faster and much better than Dubois. So, sounds like we will be getting that fight in December or January. I asked Bob Arum too. I said, what do you say to fans who think this is a publicity stunt to help build Ngannou and Fury. And what do you say to fans who are concerned about his weight and don't believe it till they see it? And he said, well, and it was told to me that Fury has been guaranteed of much more upwards of $100 million. So it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of money to finally get in there. I've heard it could be as much as $200 million he'll make against Usyk in Saudi Arabia. So, but that said, I do hear the fans about, I'll believe it when I see it. If Fury pulled out of it, that would be disgraceful. Just like it was disgraceful when Tyson Fury pulled out of the rematch with Vladimir Klitschko. And if you're a boxing fan or a Wilder fan and you felt like that count in fight number 3 on the second knockdown in round 4 was a bit too long, it was too long. I was there ringside. It wasn't 10 seconds. It was about 13 or 14 seconds. But all that said, I still feel like Fury's the best heavyweight of this era. He's the best heavyweight in the world. And the only guy that's really going to beat Fury isn't Usyk. It's Tyson Fury. It's Tyson Fury coming in fat and not at his best. And that's how he loses his fight. Because I know the guy that fought Wilder in fight number 2, the guy that fought even Wallin, and he's going to beat Usyk. The guy who showed up kind of out of shape for the third Wilder fight, that's a good fight. I still would favor that version of Fury to beat Usyk. I'd favor the Fury that took care of Dillian White last year to beat him. So we'll see. We'll see. And if Fury wins this fight, we say guys his legacies are solidified. Maybe we say that too much, but his legacy truly would be solidified to become the first undisputed 4-belt heavyweight era. If he beats Usyk, he's got 3 great accomplishments. He ended the reign of an all-time great heavyweight champion in Vladimir Klitschko. He won a trilogy and the greatest fight number 3 in the heavyweight boxing history since the new millennium, since the year 2000. He won that trilogy and he won that fight. And then if he beats Usyk, he becomes the first 4-belt undisputed heavyweight champion. Those are 3 excellent accomplishments, and his legacy really would be solidified as one of the all-time great heavyweights in boxing history. And you guys know I don't feed into recency bias. That's just, I think, a correct assessment of Fury if he gets past Usyk. Now, if Usyk gets past him, I mean, that's Evander Holyfield shit. That'd be incredible. And he surpasses Lomachenko, Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko as the greatest Ukrainian fighter of all time, and he already is an all-time great, but elevates him that much more. So let's see. Fender Bender says, guys, hit the like button, show Sean some love. He works hard to bring us content. Appreciate that. Also becomes 3-time Ring Magazine heavyweight champ, first one ever, I think. King Fury, I believe he'll join Evander Holyfield and Muhammad Ali, the 2 most decorated heavyweights in my book, as legit the man, the lineal, whatever you want to call it, heavyweight champion of the world. But then again, I don't know about that, because Fury to me would really just be 2-time heavyweight champion. He was the lineal champ when he beat Klitschko. He's considered the lineal champ now, but already by beating Wilder in their trilogy, and then Joshua lost to Ruiz, and so once him and Wilder fought, he became ring champ. So, no, to me, Fury wouldn't be 3-time undisputed champ or 3-time lineal champ. He'd be 2-time lineal champ still. But still the only guys who would be 3-time lineal heavyweight champion of the world would be Muhammad Ali and Evander Holyfield. But that would be huge. So let me say what's up to people in the chat, and then we'll get started with a little bit of Canelo Charlo. And me and my editor, we got a little bit of an idea. We want to have some of the fans come in. You guys drop a quick super chat. You could come in today on the live and give your take on Canelo Charlo, or your take on Fury Usyk. If it's $2 or $5, you get your take for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Do your thing. If it's more, you could do your thing, have a back and forth with me. Try to school me if you think my take is terrible or whatever. But we're going to try that out today, see how that goes. Got the editor having some dinner. He's going to pop in a little bit later, and we'll try that. But what's up, Jay Daniels? Said, my boy Sean Paul here to give us the light. Just give me the light. Yeah. So me go then. Just give me the light and pass the joe. Who knows what he's saying in Give Me the Light? I have listened to that song since it dropped in 6th grade, and I have no fucking idea what he's saying in Give Me the Light. I know what he's saying a little bit in Get Busy. Judy and Rebecca won't get busy. Just shake. Yeah, so I know some of that. Raider Reaper, what's good, brother? Chris Sadamonde, what's going on? Brewski, what's up? Lester Walnut says, who you got for the fight tomorrow? All right. Who you got tomorrow, says Darian Wade. I'm not going to lie. Charlo got a chance, says Darian Wade. Of course he's got a chance. He's a hell of a champion in his own right. A top 10 all-time at 154, right? But I guess let's get it. Who is my pick 24 hours out? Well, I've altered the pick. I originally had Canelo by decision. And then fight week, it can bring you a certain level of foreshadowing. And I felt like the last couple of big fights we've had gave us that. It was pretty apparent if you really were reading into the fighters, their auras, that Crawford was going to beat Spence. And he had the crowd in the palm of his hands. And when he came out rapping to Lil Wayne, he had an answer for everybody on Spence's team. He had an answer for Spence. It's the weigh-in. Spence is still talking about money. Crawford's saying there's no comparison between me and Spence. He's not better at me than anything. And it became very clear Crawford was the dominant fighter heading into that fight, and he dominated. So this week, I'm coming in worried about Canelo's stamina. I'm coming in worried, is he just saying all the right things that great old fighters say when they're getting old? I feel great. I moved my camp. This is the best I ever felt. I'm still hungry. I still got a lot to give. All the right stuff, right? But then your ass is just getting old, okay? And that happens. So I worried about his stamina. And I also expected Jermell Charlo to let the lion out once we got to Vegas. I hoped he would. That didn't happen. Charlo has shown Canelo too much respect, chat. He's shown him too much respect. I understand that. I understand he's trying to make a point. I'm not this loud, angry man, argumentative, all that. I'm matured now. I'm a 33-year-old family man, a great fighter, and I don't need to do all that to sell a fight or to be Jermell Charlo. I respect Canelo, and I'm coming to win. That's not Jermell Charlo. That's not the Jermell Charlo I've covered for a decade. That's not the man that became the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, who talked to Tom Brady earlier this week on SiriusXM. Canelo Alvarez, Tom Brady said a couple days before him and Canelo chopped it up on SiriusXM that when he was playing, greatest quarterback of all time, like him or not, he looked for any little thing to find spite for the opponent. Right? Is that what Jermell Charlo's doing, chat? That's what Michael Jordan did. That's what Kobe Bryant did. That's what Tom Brady did. And that's what Canelo Alvarez is doing, not Jermell Charlo. The guy who's always fired up, all of a sudden for the biggest fight of his life, isn't fired up. The Mr. Keep running your mouth and all, nowhere to be found. And it's disappointing a little bit. I like Jermell Charlo. I've enjoyed covering him as a fighter and as a man the last 10 years. I never looked down on his outbursts or any of that. I enjoyed it. He's engaging. He's expressive. I enjoy it as an interviewer, right? And it's not like I want you to play this angry black man role or anything like that. I want you to be yourself. I want you to be the lion that became the king at 54 and take your best shot at Canelo. Because if you take Canelo to a place where he's really, really, really got to reach deep, does he want to after $500 or $600 million? In the case against Bivol, the answer was no. He kind of mailed it in halfway through that fight once he got gassed. Part of it was because he was gassed. He didn't have the gas tank to do what was necessary to turn the fight back in his favor. But he also mailed it in a little bit. He didn't quit. I'm not saying that. But he thought, so it's Canelo Alvarez who's doing what Tom Brady and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant did. He goes, no. I don't care how nice you are. As Tupac once said, and toss it up. You could kiss my ass from here to across the street, boy. It's on, right? I'm sorry for being corny, but it came to me right as we were talking about it. He was talking about Puffy in that song. I don't care if you kiss my ass from here to across the street. It's on. And that's what Canelo basically told him. I'm not going to let that slide. I'm not going to let it slide, all the things you said about me. I'm scared. I'm ducking. I'll whoop Canelo, all that. I'm here now. I'm in front of you. What do you got to say? Nothing? And then Charlo's, I'm a lion. Canelo's laughing at him, giggling at him, saying, okay, well, I don't know what fucking animal I'm supposed to be, but I'm that animal, and I'm going to win. And he just told him with such certainty, just like Terrence Crawford told Errol Spence, Just like Gervonta Davis told Ryan Garcia. Told him with the utmost certainty, it's different. It's different, and you're going to get it. And he says it from his chest. He says it from the depths of his soul because he truly believes it. Charlo hasn't given us any of that type of energy. And I broke this all down to X's and O's. Charlo has a good jab, but he doesn't create exit lanes in the center of the ring. That's why even though he knocked Castano out, Castano backed him up from ropes to ropes and all that. And he flurried off the ropes like Joan Guzman, his co-trainer, used to do, and he knocked Castano out. He did that. He became the Undisputed at 54. I said he can't win that way against Canelo. He can't win that way getting backed up from rope to rope and trying to exchange with him and win the exchange, and that's how he wins the fight. He has to find a way to box the perfect fight. And still be of the boxer puncher. Still take his chances and try to hurt Canelo and all of that. So X's and O's wise, I already favored Canelo, but I keep an open mind. Let's get to fight week. Let's feel the vibe, feel the energy. And it made me change my pick from Canelo by decision because I thought Canelo could have some stamina problems. Charlo has good feet, good movement, and he fights with a lot of pride. But I haven't seen that level of pride in him this week, the way I have his whole career. So I got Canelo by knockout. That's the vibe I got after this week. I had Canelo by decision. I was worried he could get tired too early, that he was saying all the right things a great fighter says, and he's going to get tired halfway through the fight. Jermell's going to sense that, step on the gas, and pull off the upset by decision. That wasn't my pick, but it was something I was seriously considering. Could happen. But then, also the business of boxing, this is the first of a 3-fight deal with PBC. They don't want him to lose. They don't want a devalued asset in fight number 1. They want to make a super fight with David Benavidez next year. So the business of boxing also wants him to win. But X's and O's wise, watching the tape, watching the Castano fights, I already saw Canelo had the advantage, stylistically. He's a more compact puncher. He punches harder. He has a better defense. He has better balance. Charlo fights with a wide base. He doesn't fight tall. He is tall. He has a good jab. But he doesn't always pivot out on his jab and keep, like Bivol did, jab and keep angles off of it to keep in the center of the ring. He'll jab you, fire off, and he'll sometimes, and when he moves laterally, Charlo, he kind of squares his feet up to where he can't really punch out of that stance. He doesn't move off keeping half the body like this. When he starts to move, the 2 feet square up a little bit, and you can't punch out of that. Your feet aren't underneath you like that. So I saw Canelo warming up with the youngster, Jorge Capetillo's son, out here in Las Vegas, Dylan Capetillo, La Amenaza. And Canelo just looked light on his feet, attempting to cut off the ring against this young kid bouncing around the ring. Smart by Canelo. Get ready to cut that ring off because you're going to have to. And then I thought, another reason I thought I had Canelo by decision was, I said, and Charlo has always been a warrior, right? But when he gets hit, and I'm going to get to one more big reason why I have Canelo by knockout too, the weigh-in. Now it makes me forget. Damn it. That's terrible, chat, that I can forget these things off top. Well, quickly to the weigh-in, and hopefully I'll remember. It'll come back to me. To the weigh-in too. That's right. Now I remember. So another reason why I thought Charlo could go the distance is if he got hurt early, he could fight to survive. And that he's a pro, an experienced champion pro, he has good legs, so that even if he feels like, wow, I've never felt this power before, and let me fight to go to the distance and not get knocked out. Let me make this full 12. And I said maybe he kind of pulls a little bit of a Zab Judah, Adrian Broner, if he feels that power early and it's too much for him coming up in 2 weight classes. But then I thought about it, and Zab Judah and Adrian Broner were more defensive fighters by nature than Jermell Charlo. So does Charlo, even if he does fight for survival, does he really have the defensive capabilities and the intelligent footwork to do that? And that's what kind of made me also change it to Canelo by knockout, because this guy's a boxer puncher. Broner was flat-footed, but he had a good defense and a good chin, and he knew how to survive. Zab didn't have a good chin, but he was quick on his feet, gave half of his body as a southpaw, would be still dangerous with his backhand a little bit, so you still had to worry about that. Fat and that explosiveness at any minute. But Zab would start fighting to survive. Sometimes it wouldn't even work. Cotto, he started fighting to survive against Cotto. Cotto got him out of there anyways. But he could do that. Zab could do that. AB could do that. I don't even know if that's in Charlo's game, that kind of style. He's a boxer puncher. So that, and then the weigh-in, folks. The weigh-in came the last bit of assessment you're allowed to make as an observer, and Charlo looked like a blown-up junior middleweight. He didn't look like a full-fledged super middleweight. Canelo looked like a full-fledged super middleweight. Charlo looked like a guy jumping up 2 weight classes in one fell swoop, and not like a guy who's got acclimated to the weight, who's had time over 2 or 3 fights to get his body to pretty much look the same as it did at 154. His body didn't look the same. It lacked the same definition. He's in great shape. Don't get me wrong. He's in a great shape professional athlete. Don't get me wrong. But he didn't look as lean and as trim and as cut up and as muscular at 68 than he did at 54. He looked like what we call a blown up such and such, a blown up lightweight, a blown up welterweight, he looked like a blown up junior middleweight fighting at super middleweight against a guy who is grown into the weight class, because that's what it is. Those are facts. And now that the weigh-in, the reality comes, that's what your eyes see. You see a guy on the scales who is in great shape by relative standards, but compared to Canelo, looks like a blown-up junior middleweight. When you look at his midsection, it's not as cut as it used to be. Canelo looked strong, hydrated, ready to go at 68, and continues to he's owned this week, from the trash talk to the energy to who breaks the stare first and everything. Now, I say all that playing fake ass armchair psychologist, and maybe Jermell Charlo tomorrow night at T-Mobile boxes Canelo Alvarez's ears off. Maybe he fights the perfect fight. Maybe he establishes the jab, moves around. Canelo's frustrated, reaching for power shots early, and the fight gets away from Canelo and Jermell Charlo does his thing. If he does that, all credit to Jermell Charlo. But that's not what I'm observing here. And so far, we've gotten the big fights all right. We picked all the big fights right this year. I don't see any reason why Canelo's not going to win this fight. My final pick is Canelo by knockout. And I think the body work is going to be a problem for Jermell Charlo. I think the left hook of Canelo is probably going to be his best punch in this fight, to the body and to the head. And it's tough. Also, Jermell for most of the week. What's up, BT? I see you, brother. I see you're back. Going to stop in just a second. But Jermell's been without his brother most of the week. That's not good. That's not good juju, man. That's not good juju. This is your brother, and you guys have been alongside each other your whole career. Now it's the biggest moment, and you're fractured. And maybe that makes Charlo in his own way that much more motivated to separate himself and stand and shine alone. But I don't know. They got that twin telepathy, right? It's not a good thing. They're supposed to be on the same page. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't good what we saw happen between both of their, significant others fighting in broad daylight at Crawford Spence. That was terrible. Families shouldn't fight like that. And maybe or maybe not, those women will be your wives or your significant other for 10 years now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, but you'll always be brothers. You'll always be twins in blood. And that, it's sad that would get between them. It's not my business, but it's just, it's sad that it get between them. I'm happy Jermell Charlo showed up today. That can only be good for Jermell, I would think. Provide an emotional boost, something, that Jermell showed up at the weigh-in, caught up with Jermell, said he was there for his brother. You guys could check out the interview on the site. It's quick. But I gotta go. Dexter Smith says Charlo the truth. This guy's a fool. I mean, if I'm a fool, Dexter, why did I pick Crawford Spence correctly? Why did I pick Haney Lomachenko correctly? Why did I pick Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez, a fight where everybody was picking Josh Taylor correctly? Tank versus Ryan, Benavidez versus Plant, and on and on and on and on. I haven't picked any of the big fights wrong. I don't think I'm going to be wrong come Saturday night. But if I am, it's all about Jermell Charlo and what he was able to accomplish. And I think if Jermell does win this fight, he'll probably have to put on a masterpiece. So credit to him if he can do that. But I see a guy not with his usual confidence, not with his usual swag, who looks a little bit blown up at the weight, coming up 2 weight classes, who hasn't fought in a year and a half, who's a good boxer puncher but isn't a pure boxer, doesn't have the educated jab, has a good jab. He has good feet, but I don't know if they're educated jab, educated feet enough to keep this fight in the center of the ring and to keep Canelo Alvarez turning. He wasn't able to do that with Brian Castano. Canelo Alvarez, Dexter Smith, is a much better fighter than Brian Castano, who really deserved to win that first fight against Charlo. Charlo came back twice as better, made some adjustments with Joan Guzman, knocked him out. He'll have to find more adjustments with Joan Guzman because the adjustments from the Castano fight won't get it done. He won't be able to get backed up rope from rope, fight off the ropes, and beat Canelo Alvarez that way. He's got to keep the fight in the center of the ring. If he does that, credit to him. I don't see it going that way. Check back in Sunday morning, Dexter Smith, and we'll see what it is. All right, so now that I gave my spiel, it's been 30 minutes. I gave my spiel on Canelo and everybody. Looks like we got a couple people who already donated a couple super chats. Malcolm Emmanuel says Charlo's there for a check. Canelo in 7. Lester Walnuts hit me with the super chat. Thank you, Lester Walnuts. And we can start there, Lester Walnuts. Lester Walnuts, would you like to be the first person on Fan Take, Fight Take here on FightHype? Would you like to give your first, be our first take from the fans? So go ahead and let us know, Lester Walnuts, and maybe we could send you a link in the chat and we could have you on. I think you donated the $1.99, so you got a minute, brother. Go ahead and let it rip if you feel like it. So Poppy Greco says, stop playing with Jermell, dog. You can't slander him and give him a slight chance. That man never got his respect, and even if he does win, y'all not going to give him the praise, blah, 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 blah. Poppy Greco, did you not hear me in the beginning of the stream say he's a top 10 154-pounder in boxing history? I don't know what higher praise I could dole out that he deserves than that. I said he did that. He was the undisputed junior middleweight champ. He came back, made adjustments against Harrison and Castano, and knocked him out. Someone's got to win, and someone's got to lose. I'm picking Canelo to win. It's not a slight against Jermell Charlo. And when you mentioned Charlo will have credit taken away from him, so will Canelo Alvarez. They're big boys. These are grown men. You call a spade a spade. If Canelo beats Charlo, you're not hating on Canelo if you say he beat a blown-up junior middleweight. And he needs to fight David Benavidez. That's who he needs to fight at 168 pounds. That's not hating on Canelo. That's calling a spade a spade. If Charlo gets in there and Canelo looks old and gasses by the 5th round, and Charlo puts on a masterpiece and wins, but I mentioned after the fight, Canelo didn't look that good and got tired by the 5th round. That's not hating on him. It's calling a spade a spade. These are grown men. They could take it. They're making lots of money, getting a lot of glory that they deserve for getting in there, fighting, risking their lives on the biggest stage, getting busy. We don't need to do all that for these guys. They're good. They can handle it. They can handle these assessments. So, Chop with the super chat 199 says, "What's up, Mr. Quake? How you doing?" Says, "What do you think of Showtime reports? Where does PBC go?" I talked to a lot of people in the business. I can't really, especially this week. It's been crazy. I wish I could tell you guys all the stuff I've been hearing and doing. And anyways. But for me, I'll just give how I would if Showtime is on the clock, they're on their way out. I don't think that PBC should jump to another dinosaur, TNT or any Fox, TNT, CBS, ESPN. Like these channels are always going to be around, but I think their influence peaked a little bit. And something like Amazon Prime is on the come up. And Jeff Bezos isn't playing around. And he needs content. And from watching Thursday Night Football, they're doing their thing. They have good production value. They bring in good anchors. The camera quality's high. I've been enjoying Thursday Night Football when the Niners play on there, whatever. I think that'd be a good look for PBC. Go if you can, get something going with Amazon Prime. They have a lot of space to fill for live content. They want sports. They got the NFL already. I don't know. That's just me. So we'll see. But Mr. Quake points out that Showtime is owned by Paramount Global. So maybe that's what would happen. It's a merger between Showtime, Paramount, and PBC winds up on the Paramount app. I don't know. I just want what's best for boxing. We'll see. I understand some of the criticisms people give PBC. I understand some of the corrections and the offsetting points by PBC. I'm always in the middle. We'll we'll just see what goes down. But let me see here. Lester Walnuts, if you want to jump on, let us know where we can send you the link in a message. Yeah, Lester Walnuts, let us know, and we will send you word. I'm trying to figure it out now. All right, Lester Walnuts looks like he's going to be the first guy on there. Crawford Spence 2, Netflix pay-per-view. I don't think so, man. Netflix, I don't know. I don't think anyone associates I even Baker Mayfield's commercials. Like, I even associate sports with Hulu more than Netflix. So I don't know about boxing going to Netflix, but I do like the thought of them trying out Amazon Prime. Dexter Smith, let's see. Dexter Smith wants to let me have it a little bit. Where's he at? Hey, what's up, Dane Sampson? Dane Sampson, my guy, says, Sean, didn't Navarrete say he wasn't convinced he could beat Valdez, and then he ended up beating Valdez? Also, what if he isn't talking insane because he's not trying to get Canelo more motivated? Very fair points by Dane Sampson. Very fair. Very fair. That's true. But Dane, when I interviewed Navarrete about that, when he said, I don't know, maybe Valdez was, he said it with a certain coyness to him, like, I got something up my sleeve. He said it like, oh no, no, maybe I could get why he's the favorite. I get it. He's great. Maybe he will win. It was something about his energy, and I even mentioned it after the interview that this guy's got something up his sleeve. Like, and I picked Valdez. I got that fight wrong. Navarrete turned out to be even better than I thought. But still, I don't see that from Charlo. I don't see him being coy or nothing like that. When Canelo pops jokes on him, he starts laughing. He keeps saying he was saying to Joan Guzman on All Access, I want to learn Mexican Spanish so I can talk to him. Canelo's a cool dude. Maybe you're right. Maybe Charlo is letting sleeping dogs lie, not tugging on Superman's cape. And then he's got all of a sudden he's got Canelo thinking, I'm soft and all this. And then he gets into that first ring, and when he gets to that first round, and Charlo's moving around the ring and putting that jab on him and being long and rangy and fighting beautifully, and then Canelo goes, oh shit, what happened? I thought this guy, I was ready to run over this guy, and Charlo's going, yeah, motherfucker, you thought wrong. And then Charlo does his thing. If that's what happens, that's what happens. But that's not what I'm seeing playing out here. I'm seeing a guy kind of shrink in the bright lights in Jermell Charlo. So, but we'll see. We'll see if that's the case tomorrow night. Is Jose Benavidez a good comeback for Jermell? No, it's terrible. It's terrible. I like Jose. I love the Benavidez family. That's a terrible. That's not. If the thought with PBC and the 3-fight deal with Canelo is to match him against Jermell Charlo in fight number 2, I don't think you can do that without some blowback unless Charlo beats Caleb Plant or beats at least Carlos Adames. Even if he were to beat Carlos Adames at 160, it's at 160, and who is Carlos Adames at that level? So, yeah, I feel like Charlo needs to fight Plant and beat Plant if he really wants to deserve a Canelo fight at 68. Because, I mean, boxing can do what they want. They can make that fight, but it's going to get tons of blowback, deservedly, if the man hasn't fought in 2.5 years, or if he fights Jose Benavidez, a welterweight, actually a guy who started at 140 pounds, never won a world title, had great talent as a youngster, but then life went sideways. It compromised his talent. Since the Bud Crawford fight, he's done nothing. He's not really a 154-pounder, let alone a 160-pounder, let alone a 168-pounder. He's none of those things. So it wouldn't prove anything even if Jermell came back and knocked him out. It's a nothing fight. Look, Jermell's put himself in this position. It's really not easy to ask him to go up 8 pounds to a weight he hasn't fought at yet and to fight Caleb Plant, who's been pretty active, and even though he lost to Benavidez, has been fighting at a pretty high level. So, but that's what he would have to do to really earn a shot against Canelo, is get up to 68, fight Plant. That's a big fight now because of the slap and everything that happened at Crawford Spence. That's a big fight now, so that's what he would have to do. Cesar Aguirre says Plant schools him, maybe. But FightHype said they don't want that smoke, Sean. No, it's okay. It's late, man. It's Friday night. People are out having a good time. I'm not going to lie. I thought we were going to have a lot of people in here 24 hours before the fight. But saw a lot of fans at the weigh-in, too. Swavey04 said, Plant is a dangerous fight to come back. First fight at 168, 2-year layoff. I agree. I totally agree. But that's the position he's put himself in. You know? What's Canelo supposed to do? Wait around for him to get 3 different fights in over a 12 to 18 month span? And no, he's got 3 fights on his deal, and fight number 1 is done tomorrow. So I don't know what they do with fight number 2. I mean, me personally, I'm like, can you just get to the Benavidez fight already? Can we just do it in May at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play? You know, if you really want to show Dana White fuck off and all that, and UFC fuck off, beat him to the punch at Raiders Stadium. Put a big fight there. Flex on him. Like Steven Espinoza was flexing on Dana White about 3 $20 million gates. You know, well, we'll flex on him and beat him to the punch to Raiders Stadium with Canelo Benavidez. Why wait? There's no surefire, logical second opponent. I mean, you could do Canelo and Crawford, but I don't think Canelo, and by the way, on the topic of Canelo Crawford, I don't think Canelo's that interested in that fight, because what does he get out of it? If he loses to a welterweight, a guy who used to be a lightweight. You know, people will clown him. If he wins, he beats a welterweight, a guy that used to be a lightweight. Yeah, you know, Crawford is an amazing fighter, the best fighter pound for pound. It makes so much more sense for Crawford, money-wise, legacy-wise, than it does for Canelo. If Canelo loses to David Benavidez, he handed the torch. It's a good look. He lost to a younger, bigger guy and gave him the opportunity, and he handed the torch to the Mexican-American kid, and, you know, good on Canelo. If he loses to Crawford, there's going to be a lot of people that'll end arguments in his favor for who is the best fighter in the post-Floyd Mayweather era, Manny Pacquiao era. Was it Canelo, Ward, Crawford? If Crawford beats Canelo, he's going to get that argument all day. But without even securing the Canelo fight, the edge will probably still keep going to Canelo, especially if he could beat a Benavidez. So we'll see. I mean, you guys know where I'm at when it comes to Canelo and Crawford. I'd rather them both fight the young killers in their division. Crawford against Boots, Canelo against Benavidez. But if they make that fight for fight number 2, that'd be a great fight. It might make even more money than Canelo and Benavidez. But I don't know. Why fuck around? Get right to Canelo Benavidez next year in May. It's good that we live in a reality where Canelo would smash both Benavidez and Crawford. I don't know if he smashes either one. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I favor Benavidez. Youth, size, activity, but I know a lot of people feel like Canelo can fold him to the body, get underneath that tall, slender frame, more accurate, pinpoint puncher, might even hit a little bit harder than David too, and stop him to the body. I know a lot of people in boxing that feel Canelo will whoop Benavidez. I think Benavidez will win that fight. I think he'll come on strong as the fight goes on, throw a lot of punches. But first things first, Canelo's got to get by Charlo. Let me see who else is in the chat. Your boy is a little worn out from a long week. Let me see. Fight comes. Let me see. Angry Casual Fan said, Sean, you falling for these circus fights. Shaking my head. What do you mean, Angry Casual Fan? What do you mean by that? This isn't a circus fight. It's a good fight. It's a fight I'm looking forward to. It's just a fight that no one asked for. It's a good fight, but it's a fight no one asked for. That's fair, but it's a good fight. It's definitely not a circus fight. We can't say one of the top 5 or 168 pounders in boxing history fighting a top 10 154 pounder in history. It's not a circus. It's a good fight. It's not a fight any of us asked for. And Charlo is not taking this fight in ideal conditions. He's coming up 2 weight classes and hasn't fought in a year and a half. So I don't think it's going to go well for him. But good on him if it does. Is this fight tougher than Canelo's last 3? Well, it's not as tough as Bivol. It is, I think it's tougher than Golovkin, and it's probably overall tough. I mean, Charlo is going to rank pound for pound much higher than John Ryder ever will. But John Ryder did have one thing Charlo doesn't have. He was a strong, sturdy, full-grown 168 pounder. And he was able to hold up to a lot of punishment against Canelo. Got dropped multiple times. Charlo's a better fighter than John Ryder, but how much better is he 14 extra pounds up at 68? We'll see. But I think, unfortunately for Charlo, I could be wrong. Canelo could be getting old fighteritis, saying all the right things, but he's slowing down. But I think Canelo is going to be a rejuvenated Canelo. I look at the man. I see his energy this week. He has more energy this week than he did those last couple fights in Vegas where the energy was dull. He wasn't hyped coming into it. And this week, not only does he look more enthusiastic and more energetic, he looks young in the face. Doesn't look like he's aging. When I get close to seeing his face and everything, he looks good. And Charlo just hasn't said anything really from his chest since this fight was announced. He just hasn't. And that's not Jermell Charlo. Andre Ward used to tell me, fighters, it's not good when they act out of character when the bright lights come. And he's acting a little out of character. I understand his point. I'm a different, matured man now. That's not the same Jermell Charlo. God bless you. That's good. I think you'd be better off letting that Jermell Charlo out to fight Canelo out. We'll see. Because he does have to box a perfect fight. And maybe he's coming in just very cerebral, letting sleeping dogs lie and just box his ass off. But he's a boxer puncher. He's not a pure boxer. We'll see what happens. Looking forward to it. Got a super chat from my man, EPL Banter. What's up, bro? What do you think of Canelo's legacy if he stays ducking Benavidez and instead keeps cherry-picking tomato cans and be a weight bully? I think that'd be a bad look. If he continued to duck Benavidez. That's why I've been asking him, hounding him about it for 3 years now. So I definitely think it'd be a bad look, Banter. But I'll tell you what, I'll let you in on something. I don't think he's going to duck Benavidez much longer. I wish I could tell you, but I've heard some good things around the business about Canelo Benavidez in regards to this 3-fight deal. I don't like throwing it up. This 3-fight deal. I've heard some very good things in regards to the 3-fight deal. So I'll put my money on, barring Canelo losing to Charlo or losing in a second fight. I'm on the record now. Canelo fights Benavidez in this 3-fight deal. Might very well be fight number 3 and not number 2. But Canelo fights Benavidez. He's a true champion. I never thought Canelo, as long as Benavidez doesn't lose to Boo Boo Andrade, didn't lose to Caleb Plant, as long as Benavidez or Canelo don't lose along the way, Canelo's going to take that fight. And I think that's even a little bit of what this fight's about, is an eye towards Benavidez. And he knows the big fight with the Mexican Monster's coming, and I want to be 100%. I want to be ready because it's like Golovkin all over again. I want to shut everybody up about this Benavidez kid and prove there's only one Mexican Monster. So I can't wait. I am so hyped. I love covering. I love boxing. It'll always be my baby. But the fight after a decade of covering it and 20 years of being around boxing to really get me going, Canelo and Benavidez, I can't wait. You guys are going to see the most excited version of me you've seen if and when, and I'm saying when we get to that fight week. I can't wait. So, unless Boo Boo beats Benavidez. Indeed, unless Boo Boo beats Benavidez. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, Boo Boo's best days were at 54. He was still really good at 60. But his feet, I don't think, were what they were before. And he coasts later on in fights. He tames guys. He's got a good southpaw left hand. Fast hands. Very good fighter. And he hurts guys early. And then he starts to coast. And he can't do that with Benavidez. Benavidez won't let him do that. So I kind of think the Andrade fight may look similar to the Plant fight. Andrade does well early, and Benavidez really pours it on in the second half of that fight. And maybe without Kenny Bayless assisting this time, maybe he can get a late stoppage against Andrade, unlike Plant, but we'll see. Mike J says, who the fuck is Boo Boo? He is Demetrius Andrade, 2-division champion, undefeated former Olympian. So, EPL Banter, you gave us the super chat, brother. You're more than welcome to give us a link to Twitter or Instagram, and you can hop in and give your take, brother. So don't be shy if that's what you want to do. If you're good, you're good. I'll keep it going. But so Benavidez is not Mexican, says Daisy Sanchez. No, he is. His dad's Mexican. His mom is Ecuadorian. He's half Mexican, half Ecuadorian. Speaks Spanish. So he is Mexican American. He is as Mexican as I am Italian. He's half. Good enough. But Daisy Sanchez, I did have fun with that. I did ask Canelo once, well, since he's only half Mexican and not from Mexico, does it really interfere with the whole I don't want to face other Mexicans thing? And that kind of went viral. That was fun. Gizio Morales says G-Town in the house. Wally Chinchilla says if Boo Boo beats Benavidez, then Andrade should fight Canelo. Yeah, absolutely. He should. Definitely. So, Tim Tszyu or Inoue for Fighter of the Year? I think it's Crawford, even with just one fight. I think it's Crawford. I think it's Terrence Crawford. Devin Haney will have a good claim too, but a lot of people felt Lomachenko edged that fight, so that hurts a little. But Devin Haney will, if he beats Prograis, and I believe he will, he'll have an amazing year. But I think it's Crawford. I think it's Crawford's award, even though he only fought once. But it was the biggest fight of the year. I mean, it didn't sell as much as Ryan and Tank, but it was the biggest fight of the year, the most significant fight of the year. And he turned what was supposed to be Leonard Hearns into Mayweather Gotti. So even with just one fight, it was one of the all-time great performances in a big fight in boxing history. Terrence Crawford's the Fighter of the Year. Inoue deserves to probably be runner-up. Devin Haney, if he gets past Prograis, is definitely up there as well in consideration. Trying to think who else. The winner of Fury Usyk. If Usyk beats Fury, he might become Fighter of the Year. He'll have more than just one win than Crawford, in the year, beat a man much bigger than him. If Usyk can upset Fury, and I'm picking Fury, then Usyk might be Fighter of the Year. But right now, I gotta give it to Crawford. Runner-up would probably be Inoue. That performance against Fulton was incredible. You could easily argue Inoue's number one pound for pound and Crawford's number two. I don't have a big argument to that. I have Crawford 1 and Inoue 2 for now, but if you got Inoue number 1, I think that's fair. I don't think that's asinine or anything. So, but I do right now I think Crawford's the Fighter of the Year. Chop, thank you for the super chat, says, I think that Benavidez beat Canelo happens next and is at Allegiant and shows Dana that Mexican holidays to belong to boxing, that atmosphere would be crazy. Chop, I love how you think. But I don't know. Hearing things, talking to people in the biz, and they seem to want that Benavidez fight for number 3. But I don't know. Why not? Let's just get to number. It could be fight number 2 and number 3. The rematch could be fight number 3. We'll see. Angry Cat, how often do you get a haircut? I get them more often now. I used to not get them very often. I used to get them every 4 to 6 months. Now I get them every month and a half, every 2 months, trying to look just a little more professional. Wally Chinchilla says, I will be looking to see Charlo's reaction with Canelo's body shots. Yeah, I think his body's gonna coil. It's gonna shell up a little bit when he feels the body shots and feels the power. And also, you know what? Another thing to look out for with Canelo in this fight is abusing the arm of Charlo. Something he did to Callum Smith. And then Dimitri Bivol, famously pointed at his shoulder after the fight and told Canelo, no. Savage moment for Bivol after beating Canelo. But he's pointed at his arm, and his arm was red as shit. I mean, it was pretty messed up. It's just Bivol's a strong Russian kid who could take it. Unlike Callum Smith, built like a string bean. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see Canelo, when Charlo lays on the ropes in the high guard, bomb that, loop that right hand, left hook, put it on there, right there. And Charlo's going to have to move so much in this fight to win. He can't stay in front of Canelo that often. The only times he can stay in front of Canelo is if he's in control of the fight, if he's a step ahead of Canelo, off the jab, dictating range, dictating the fight. Then he could pick his spots when he feels it's advantageous to stand and trade with him. But that's not what he did when he knocked out Brian Castano. He threw there were beautiful combinations, but get off me punches. He didn't hold the center of the ring against Brian Castano. He got pushed rope to rope and then fought off the ropes beautifully and knocked him out. Unless he's learned how to keep the fight in the center of the ring with his jab better than he did against Castano. If he's the same guy after the Castano fight, Canelo can do everything Castano does at a much higher level. They're a similar build. They throw a similar assortment of shots, but Canelo's got so much better defense, so much more experience, got 5 times more fights than Castano, hits so much harder than him, that it's not going to go well. But then again, Joan Guzman made him much better. Maybe he can continue that improvement and make him a better and better boxer. We'll see. But got Canelo tomorrow. Angry Casual Fan says, the boxing gods had enough of cinnamon. I don't know, Angry Casual Fan. Doesn't every great fighter have at least one last great fight in him? I kept thinking of Roberto Duran coming into this week about, not coming in, during the week about Canelo. I kept thinking to myself, Duran looked pretty past it a couple of times in his career, and then always found a way to come back and knock out Davey Moore, beat up Iran Barkley all the way at 160, give Marvin Hagler a 15-round real run for his money, where he hurt Hagler a couple times, coming all the way up from lightweight. And Canelo's not as great as Roberto Duran. He's pretty fucking good. He's pretty great in his own right, but he's not as great as Roberto Duran. But I thought about it and I said, you know what? Duran had been knocked out. Duran had lost fights. Duran had come in flat for some performances. Duran got all the way to his late 30s, 37 when he fought Barkley. But that motherfucker Duran, whenever people started to count him out like a great fighter, he'll give you a beautiful performance. And that's what I think Canelo's going to do. I think, you guys will roast me tomorrow night because I get on the live once the post-fight's done inside T-Mobile. I show my face, and all year I've been gloating. So maybe some balance is coming my way. Maybe some humble pies coming my way. And Charlo puts on his masterpiece, and I got to talk to all you guys after the fight and eat crow, right? But I'm feeling like Canelo's about to have one of the best performances of his career, guys. That's the vibe here in Las Vegas. Like, Canelo's going to have one of his best performances of his career. And we'll see. We'll see. So, if Charlo knocks that cheater out, we will build him a statue, says Angry Casual Fan. Angry Casual Fan, always love having you in the chat, brother. Dane Sampson said, is Charlo versus Lara a good comeback from Maul, since it would be a unification fight, Sean? It's a good fight, Dane, but is it a good fight that earns him a shot at Canelo? He'd be fighting Lara at 160 pounds. It'd be a hell of a middleweight fight, but I like Lara when he fights, which is rare these days. He fights once every year and a half. He looks good. He's made some adjustments to his style. He can't move like he did in his 20s and early 30s, and he's sitting down on that straight left hand. That straight left hand is beautiful at 160. Like, he knocked out Spike O'Sullivan, however long ago. So I like Lara. I respect the veteran, former champion. I respect the adjustments he's made later in his career. But he hardly fights anymore. He's out of sight and out of mind. Like, what momentum or stock does Lara have right now outside of really hardcore boxing fans like us who still respect him for who and what he is? But again, if Charlo were to beat Lara, it's probably because he's still the best middleweight in the world, 160. But it's a paper thin division, and Canelo's making super fights at 68. I don't think it does anything to make people go, oh, he beat Lara at 160. He's got a real shot against Canelo now. Canelo better watch out. No one's going to be saying that. Charlo would have to beat Caleb Plant and look good, look good doing it, win the fight, and that would make people entertain the fight at least. But right now, I've always liked Jermell Charlo. I believe it or not, I thought back in 2015, 2016, I watched Jermell Charlo ringside in Vegas, and I'd say, I think this guy's got the size, the tools, the counterpunching, and the heavy thudding jab, and the natural athleticism to become the best middleweight in the world, over Golovkin, over Canelo. That was many years ago. So, that he has unfortunately, let his career tailspin the last 2.5 years. And even before those last 2.5 years, if you take out the Sergey Derevianchenko fight in 2020, where he fought very, very well. He fought an excellent fight that night and beat Derevianchenko more convincingly than Danny Jacobs or Golovkin. But take that fight away from it, he fought a bunch of nobodies. I can't say that as a boxing guy. He fought a bunch of guys that were overmatched by his level. Dennis Hogan, Hugo Centeno, Brandon Adams. Shout out to Brandon Adams. Shout out to Compton and Watts' finest. Tough kid who could beat me up, but too small to fight Jermell Charlo. Small middleweight coming up from 54. And so really, besides Derevianchenko and J-Rock, Julian Williams, Charlo's done nothing in 7 years. So, yeah. And I got love for Jermell. I didn't wish that on him. I was a big Jermell Charlo guy. Still think Jermell Charlo, when he's right, is the best 160-pounder ever. I'm not picking Janabek to beat Jermell. I'm not picking Jaime Munguia to beat Jermell. But Jermell coming up to after 2.5 years trying to fight Canelo? No. So, that's that. Oh, Malcolm Emmanuel. I was not. I was the only super chatter not offered a link. Maybe I should change my name to Angry Casual. Malcolm Emmanuel. BT, can we get Malcolm Emmanuel a link? I'm sorry, Malcolm. I'm sorry about that. We could get Malcolm Emmanuel in here. I also had Fury at the bottom because I think he benefits greatly from his size. Consider the definition of pound for pound. That's fine. Yeah. You could knock off some points from Fury because Fury wouldn't be Fury without being 6'9", 270. He'd still be a good fighter, a good boxer. Guy could move, guy could box, but it's his skills at his size that make him a special heavyweight. So, yeah, Malcolm Emmanuel, let us know where to send the link, brother, and we'll have you on. You'll be the first ever guy on Fan Take here on FightHype. Mr. Quake, you heading out, brother? See you later, Mr. Quake. Thank you, brother, always for being in the chat. I'll see you later. EPL Banter said he... What were we talking about, EPL Banter? Talk about Mad Angry or something like that. I don't know. I didn't know what he was getting at. EPL... Hey, bro, I don't know how to call up or share. EPL Banter, give us your... give us an email, IG, Twitter, or something, and we could send you a link and you could get in here. So, yeah, we'll get to you, EPL Banner. Go ahead. If you're still in the chat, EPL Banner, go ahead and put that in there. Smaller Fury would be Usyk. No, different styles, but I get what you mean. He would just be another excellent boxer in the heavyweight division. I don't know. I think Usyk, if they were the same size, I'd actually probably switch my pick to Usyk. But yeah, you guys just got to let us know where to send the link, and we could get you in here. I said what I wanted to and say in my chats already. Okay, Malcolm Emmanuel, next time then. Imagine the scenes if Mel wins by brutal knockout, says Shotgun Left. That would be crazy. I don't see it happening because Canelo has one of the greatest chins in boxing history. Not just the best chin I've seen in the last 10 years or so, but he's got an amazing chin. He's never been down. Columinati confirmed, says Salute Sean. Yes, sir. West Side Outlaw, Immortals for Life, Columinati all through your body. Yes, sir. Columinati confirmed. Thank you. Lord Roquitas said that Munguia's defense is terrible. It is, but his offense is pretty good. He's a very good combination puncher, especially if you lay on the ropes, if you stay in front of him. Munguia's got a lot of good offensive skill, but yeah, the defense is definitely lacking compared to the offense. We're just waiting on... I think Banter got out of here too, man. Malcolm Emmanuel said, I'm good. I said what the fuck I had to say already. And then Banter, I don't see Banter in the chat, man. We were hoping to have our first fan come on and give a take. But Philip says, did all that crying. What in reference to what, Philip? I'm just curious. Let's see. Do I have Haney with the unanimous decision or Regis with the KO? Haney by unanimous decision. I think that he'll be better at 140, stronger at 140, better gas tank down the stretch a little bit compared to the Loma fight at 140. But he does have to learn some things from these southpaws he's fought, Jojo Diaz and Lomachenko, because they hit him with straight left hands. They were yet smaller men who don't hit as hard as Regis, but they kept their hands up more than Regis, who fights with his lead hand down. And he doesn't cut distance as quickly as Jojo Diaz and Lomachenko do. When styles make fights, those guys with their high guards, quicker feet, smaller men, they knew how to smother the jab of Haney, get past that jab. Prograis couldn't get past the length and ranginess of Daniel Zorrilla. And I expect Prograis to come more prepared and in better form for a big assignment like this against Haney as compared to Zorrilla. A fight he probably wasn't up for at all, understandably so. But I still think he doesn't cut distance as quickly as Jojo and as Lomachenko, certainly. And he leads his lead hand low, and so he might not smother the jab the way other southpaws have against Haney. Haney might be able to get the jab going against the southpaw the way he hasn't been able to in the past. And, take care of business on the outside and outbox Regis and look stronger at 40 doing it. So we'll see. Let's see. Jalmo says, "Sup, Sean? Respect, bro. You speak the truth." Thank you, man. I try. I'm gonna get them wrong sometimes, but I want to be right more than I'm wrong. Otherwise, why are you guys listening to me? Oh, Philip, boy in the chat about the link. We want to get people links. What's going on? Wally Chinchilla said, Canelo already admitted that he bit off more than he can chew with Bivol. I respect that. Nah, kind of, Wally. Last week he made some excuses about it. Said I wasn't 100%. I know I'm better than him and all that. So Canelo has wound up making excuses. But I don't really care when fighters make excuses because great fighters make excuses. Muhammad Ali did. He did after he lost to Joe Frazier the first time. He was like, I won the fight with his jaw broken. And when he knew, he didn't win the fight. It was close, but that knockdown in the 15th meant Frazier definitely won it. But great fighters make excuses all the time because you have to believe it's some other reason other than he's better than you. Because the minute you really admit another fighter, another man is better than you, you're admitting death as a fighter. You're saying you're not the best, right? And that doesn't mean I don't give respect to someone saying he was the better man tonight. But really, for the most part, great fighters do make excuses. It might actually be a good sign that Canelo's making excuses about Bivol heading into the fight. It's like, oh, he's back. He's great again, and is doing mental gymnastics to convince himself there's no way Bivol could have possibly been better than him. So it sounds off, but it's true. So Canelo used the old injury excuse like Loma. Angry Casual Fan is not pulling any punches on Canelo, but Angry Casual Fan, Lomachenko made all those excuses about that and then did his thing against Devin Haney. Even if you thought Haney deserved to win that fight and won the fight, but you got to admit, win or loss, Lomachenko did his thing, and I think Canelo's about to do his thing. Malcolm Emanuel said, I said Charlo struggled with the defense of Harrison and the pressure of Castano. Canelo is both combined, says Malcolm Emanuel, plus 2 divisions up. He sounds shook, a shell of himself. Canelo in 7. Good stuff, Malcolm Emanuel. Good stuff. Good stuff. Maybe next time we'll get you on screen and you could drop those gems. But let's see. Bivol needs to see the other Russian dude. That's needed ASAP. EPL banner. He does. He's got to fight Beterbiev. If Top Rank isn't interested in making that fight, they want to keep making Beterbiev against his mandatories. And Bivol, since beating Zurdo and Canelo, is in no man's land. He's going to go through the whole calendar year after winning the Fighter of the Year award in 2022 without fighting. That's awful. And they don't got nothing going on too important. Bivol and Beterbiev should fight. And we rightfully bitched about PBC not freezing Crawford out and dragging it on until Crawford had to sign with them, and then finally we got Spence Crawford. That wasn't cool, obviously. It's not cool that Top Rank and Matchroom can't come to negotiations to give us an undisputed light heavyweight championship fight. It's just that fight is really a hardcore fight, and that's why they don't want to make it. They feel like there's no money in it. But it's still bullshit. It's a sport. We want to find out who the best light heavyweight in the world is, and it's not like they have these super lucrative options keeping them from each other. So they should fight, absolutely. I think Bivol would win. He's younger, has a better jab, better boxer. Beterbiev showed me he could really box when he knocked out Joe Smith, though. I mean, I got to give him props. I knew he beat Joe Smith, but he showed me he's even better than I thought he was. Kind of like Navarrete did with Valdez. Sometimes those guys that have great punching power, you underestimate their skills a little bit. Not that you don't know they have skills, but you still underestimate them. But I think Bivol would beat Beterbiev. Shotgun Left says, Sean, which punch do you think Mel should execute the most when Canelo enters the pocket? Shotgun Left, I don't think he should let Canelo enter the pocket that often. And Canelo's got to pay a price to get there, to get to that area in the ring in the pocket. He should be eating jabs. He should be eating right hands. Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi were talking on another channel, and then I talked to Chris Algieri. He broke down this fight. We got it up on the channel. But Chris told me Charlo has a great one of the best 1-1-2s, double jab, straight right hand. And he said he's great at going in and out with it. And that's kind of stuff he needs to be doing, is moving and punching, keeping the fight in the center of the ring, and making Canelo have to pay a price as the shorter man with shorter arms for getting in the pocket. If he just lets him in the pocket, doesn't have an educated, dominant active, educated jab to make Canelo earn every inch of real estate and cutting the distance where he wants to get, he's not going to win the fight. If he's exchanging with Canelo in the pocket, the fight is probably lost. That's the technical adjustments haven't been made necessary to win this fight. If he has the same adjustments from the Castano rematch, it's not going to be enough against Canelo like it was with Castano. That's my take anyway. But good question. Once he it's not so much what punch should he pick once he's in the pocket. It's just that man should only be in the pocket when you want him in the pocket for the most part. Otherwise, you're throwing get off me punches, and that worked against Castano. Not going to work against Canelo. And Charlo in the exchanges, Charlo can get off more than Canelo. He just throws more combinations these days. Canelo doesn't really throw combinations anymore. He throws 2 or 3 punches at a time, and that's all he needs to do. He's very accurate at putting those 2 or 3 shots together, head or body, mixes it in. But in the exchanges, Charlo can fire off 2-1. That's in his style. He can throw punches in bunches, but when he does that, he gets fat on his punches. He's not as compact and as accurate with his placement as Canelo Alvarez. So in those, he's got to be smart when he picks those spots to exchange, and they got to be on his terms, not on Canelo's terms. Not I'm fighting in the pocket and trying to get him off of me. It's got to be I'm beating him on the outside. I'm jabbing him. I'm working my levels with my jab. I'm turning him. I'm walking him into the right hand. I'm picking my 1-1-2 like Chris Algieri talked about in certain spots. And then he's got to either pick the spots where he lets Canelo in the pocket or hold his own when a great fighter like Canelo, even when you're having a success against him, inevitably gets there to that part of the ring and in that range in the fight. Got to at least hold your own. But if you're planning on winning this fight in the pocket, no. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think no. We'll see. It looks like Plant and Kovalev took a dive, no lie, says Angry Casual Fan. Definitely not Plant. I think Plant was one of Canelo's best performances because how excellent his defense was on the front foot. Hold on. Oh, wait, I just realized, Chad, I haven't plugged in my laptop charger so my shit won't die and I can still read everyone's comments. 1 second, Chad. Let me get my tech right. Your boys have been fighting through a cold this week. Probably sound a little tired on the stream, but it's been fun, man. I love this shit. I love this shit. It's been a great week. All these weeks are great. 1 second, chat. Let me plug my charger in so I don't lose you. In it. 1 second. Damn. Suitcase out the way. Alright, we're good. We are good, chat. We're golden. I'm surprised you're on here this late, to be honest. Take your time. Thank you, Angry Casual Fan. That wasn't very angry of you. That was very nice of you. Never hoped I was wrong more. I hope Jermell can be strong enough to not get Kell Brooked against GGG, says Malcolm. Right, so Malcolm, you're just being that objective. You want Jermell Charlo to win the fight. I didn't realize that. So credit to you for wanting Charlo to win the fight, but being realistic about his chances. And by the way, that's a message I would like to get out to some Charlo fans. Look, I like Jermell Charlo too. But a lot of people, and probably there's some overlap between Charlo and Spence fans because they shared the same stable for so long, same trainer. Look, Charlo fans, don't get your hopes up too much. Try to remember the Errol Spence fight. That was really tough on Errol Spence fans. And look, be realistic about the chances your fighter has. He's a big underdog for a reason. Everyone's picking Canelo for a reason. So be prepared to potentially just enjoy what Canelo's about to do. Don't torture yourself like with the Errol Spence fight when every indicator heading into the fight was Crawford's going to win this thing. And don't wish so much for what you want to happen that you can't sit and enjoy what is going to happen. That's a message to some Charlo fans, and I don't mean that to be an asshole at all in the slightest. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be with a fighter to the end, and back when I was just mainly a fan and not a media guy, I'm not too proud. I'm not too proud to admit especially when I was a teenager, and some of my favorite fighters like Eric Morales or Bernard Hopkins or Roy Jones or Miguel Cotto, when those guys would lose as a teenager, I would cry. So I know what it's like to have your heart with a fighter. But as you get older, just enjoy what's about to take place. Whoever wins, may the best man win, and enjoy the fight, enjoy the show. Don't support your guy, hope for the best, but if it doesn't go your way, don't be so upset that you can't enjoy the fight for what happens. So, because once I started doing that, I'd root for my guys, but I remember one thing I started learning was I'm gonna root for my guy, but if the other guy starts doing some great things, starts doing his thing, I want to still enjoy that too. I don't want to be so emotionally attached to the fighter that I can't enjoy whatever's about to play out. So, what's up, Tip Bayless? Shoot, they should have seen your face after the first 4 rounds of Benavidez' Plant. Hold on, what'd he say? He fights at 154 for a reason. Canelo fights at 168 for a reason. They should have seen my face after the first 4 rounds of Benavidez' Plant. Yeah, I was a little nervous. Oh, right. No, Ben's talking about how I could be sad for my fighter. I have talked up Benavidez since he was 19. He's a fighter that I believed in. I saw him fight on a StubHub card on PBC. This was like either Andre Berto versus Victor Ortiz. Hold on, I'm not that scrawny. Andre Berto and Victor Ortiz, they fought in a rematch at StubHub. Benavidez was 18 or 19, and he fought a legit vet. He fought a vet, a guy who had fought a couple guys at super middleweight and light heavyweight. And David took him out in 2 rounds, and my dad was still alive at the time. He passed a couple years ago. And I remember telling my dad, Dad, he's 19. He's 19. He's like, I know, Sean, I know. And I'm like, Dad, he's 19. He's 19. He took out a veteran in 2 rounds. Look at this kid. He's tall. He's fast. He punches hard. Yo, this kid is Dad. I like this kid. I said the same stuff about Canelo when he was fighting on Friday Night Fights, and then when he was fighting Ricky Hatton's brother Matthew Hatton and Ryan Rhodes and all those guys. Me and my pops, who knew his boxing, he watched in the good old days. And me and my dad said, oh, this guy Canelo, he's next. He's definitely next. He's special. And I remember telling my dad, Benavidez. And I didn't say it quite like I did about Canelo. Canelo I knew was going to be the next great Mexican fighter from Mexico. Like, I knew that from the minute he came to America at like 38-0, 39-0. And but Benavidez I thought was special too, and when he was losing on my round by round, and I called that fight live at MGM, and I had it Plant 5 rounds to zip after 5. I wasn't, just because I kind of, I like Benavidez, I call it down the middle. He was losing 5-zip. Caleb Plant was looking like a white man version of Andre Ward for 5 rounds. It was beautiful. He was doing his thing, and then Benavidez came on strong. But that's what BT and the big man of FightHype's getting at is I looked pretty sad calling that fight after 4 or 5 rounds, but I was calling it down the middle. Plant was schooling David for early in that fight. And I was starting to mentally have to have that conversation with myself. Like, bro, be objective and be professional here. It's not about you picking this fight right or wrong. You picked Benavidez to win, and if he's going to keep losing like this all 12 rounds, it's time to sit back and start calling Plant's beautiful work with more flair and really start to appreciate what Plant is piecing together here. Then Plant began to fade and Benavidez took over the fight. But yeah. So Jay Daniels said, Sean, you're being accidentally cold as fuck. How so? What am I doing, Jay Daniels? Why do you say that, Jay Daniels? What'd I do, brother? There is a reason Canelo picked Jermell, says Strap Season. Indeed. And there's a reason why PBC picked him as the first, offered him up as the first opponent of a 3-fight deal. Certainly not to get their newly signed superstar beaten and devalued, you would think. So we'll see. Let's see. Oh, Hakeem Steele, good to see you, bro. Thank you, Hakeem Steele. Shout out to the Lakers. What's up, bro? I just jumped into the stream, so my bad if you already touched on this, but I'm big on Frank Sanchez. I'm in awe of his feel in the ring and movement. Does he pass the eye test? Yeah, no, Frank Sanchez is legit. He's a legit heavyweight contender, a legit top 10 heavyweight. Would he step on the gas enough? Would he find enough offensively to win at the highest level? He definitely can compete at the highest level. He can compete against Usyk. No question. He can compete. He can compete against Fury and Usyk and these guys. Can he beat any of them? I'm tempted to say no, Hakeem. I just don't know if he fights beyond himself, takes enough chances, is dynamic enough offensively against the best of the best in the heavyweight division to beat Wilder, Usyk, or Fury, or even Zhang. Zhang would be a tough fight. That's a good fight. Zhang has slow feet, so Frank Sanchez might be able to move around on him pretty good, do his thing. I don't have any doubt that Frank can compete with any heavyweight in the game. But basically, Hakeem, is he going to become the heavyweight champion of the world? I'd put my money on no. I would say no. I would say he's a very good heavyweight. He could fight with any heavyweight in the world. But if you're asking me basically, will he get to the titles? Will he become the best heavyweight in the world? I would say I think not. I would love to see him and Jared Anderson. That would be an amazing fight. Two fluid, 6'4" heavyweights that fight like middleweights. Have some of the moves of smaller men, but they're still 6'4". They're not small heavyweights, but they're not big heavyweights either. I would love Jared Anderson against Frank Sanchez. I think Jared Anderson has more upside than Frank Sanchez, even though Frank Sanchez a little bit fights smarter right now than Anderson, but he doesn't have Anderson's dynamic offensive switch hitting ability, knockout power. And he doesn't fight as confident as a Jared Anderson or a Tyson Fury or a Usyk. He fights a little bit like some of those great Cubans did that came over. He fights not to lose. That's what I'm getting at, Hakeem Steels. Frank Sanchez got a little bit of him of fight not to lose instead of take chances and fight to win. And I think that would hurt him against the best of the best in the heavyweight division. Might be able to beat Anthony Joshua, stiff guy, struggles with the lateral movement. He might be able to beat Joshua. Joshua, he's the most vulnerable of the best heavyweights right now. Although Wilder's a wild card because we don't know if he could take a punch anymore because he hasn't really taken a punch in 2 years because he knocked Elenius out in 1 round, so we don't know what's left of his punch resistance after the wars with Fury. But that's how I'd sum that up, Hakeem Steels. Thank you as always, brother, for the super chat. What's up, Gustavo Fontalba? CW says, I wasn't a fan of the Ryder fight at all, but Benavidez ducked Callum Smith. Jermall ducked Danny Jacobs, and Andrade ducked Zach Parker. Actually, I thought Andrade ducked Janibek a little bit. Ryder beat all 3. That's why they ain't get a fight yet. Marcos Chaz says Canelo would beat AJ. No, I won't go that far at all. But I think you're embellishing to make a point. I hear you. Blaze once said Floyd used illegal IV and cherry-picked. Why is he TBE again? Well, his argument would be that he beat more world champions than any other fighter, and that's a pretty good starting point. 50-0, 5-division champion. Floyd's got his argument to TBE. I still got Sugar Ray Robinson, but Floyd's earned the right to lay that claim to it. So not really here to talk about Floyd today. Angry Casual Fan says Canelo cheated and suspended. Floyd didn't. Well, not quite. They had the whole T to E stuff and the IV drains, but he never tested positive for a substance like Canelo did. You guys know my take on PEDs in elite level boxing, so I'll keep it pushing. Hakeem Steele says, I appreciate it, bro. Highly respect your opinion and knowledge. No, thank you, Hakeem. And my word isn't gospel. I mean, maybe Frank Sanchez does become heavyweight champion of the world, but I just think he's got a little bit of that in him, Hakeem. The fight not to lose instead of taking the chances it would be to be great and win the heavyweight title. I say that, but Tyson Fury hardly took chances when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. That was one of the most boring heavyweight fights ever, but it was tense because of the stakes. So, there's been guys that have won the heavyweight title without taking the chances you would think necessary, but that's Tyson Fury. He's 6'9", 270. They should have stopped the Floyd-Canelo fight in the 10th. It was brutal. Nah, it wasn't that serious. He buzzed Canelo, though. I'll give this to Floyd. He may have hurt Canelo better than he did hurt Canelo better than any other fighter. The only other guy who buzzed Canelo a little bit, and it was with the same punch Floyd buzzed him with, the right uppercut. Golovkin in fight number 2, the one Canelo won, fight number 2, late in that fight, he doubled or tripled his jab up and brought the right uppercut, and it hurt Canelo. I think it was the 11th or 12th. Might have been the 12th round. And Canelo kept fighting through it, kept punching through it. But against Floyd, I think buzzed him even worse. Same setup as Golovkin, but different area of the ring. Golovkin did it in the center of the ring. Floyd had Canelo midway through the fight, up against the ropes, measured with his jab, and then threw this beautiful, sneaky right uppercut right through the guard. And Canelo kind of nodded his head like, you got me. And he just laid on the ropes a little stunned and buzzed for a second. And Floyd's Floyd. He didn't go to try to follow it up or hurt him, but he stayed on top of him and kept probing with the lead hand. And then eventually Canelo recovered and got off the ropes. But that's how great Canelo's chin is. He wasn't close to being stopped against Floyd, I think. Floyd wasn't looking for a stoppage. He was looking for a shutout, which he pretty much did. So, let's see. But yeah, chat, you guys can shoot off a few more things on me, and then I'm gonna get some rest before the big day tomorrow. I believe we're gonna have some stuff with Devin Haney tomorrow. He might be doing something with media before the fight gets there earlier in the day, Saturday, but maybe not. Still seeing what's happening there, but I'll be ready to get all the content possible, all the interviews and reactions after the main event that we can get here on FightHype, and then after my man Ron Goodall shoots the post-fight press conference live, I'll hop in and let's see if I gotta eat crow or if I could gloat like a douchebag again. We'll see. Is Devin doing something? I don't know. I gotta make a phone call, BT, when I get off this live to you know who. So, Canelo got that Jermell McClellan look in his eyes. I'm worried. Angry Casual, are you talking about prime Jermell McClellan? Because if you got prime Jermell McClellan look in his eyes, he's gonna fuck someone up. What happened with the Danny versus Lara fight? I've heard that it's still gonna happen at some point, probably before the end of the year. I don't know though. We'll see. You're right. Lara versus Danny will be announced soon. Thank you. Yes. Let's see. Tay-Day, what's up, Tay-Day? What upcoming fight or fights are you most looking forward to? I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. Definitely. Fury and Usyk, I guess, now that it's supposed to be official. That's pretty good. And then just for next year, Canelo Benavidez. I just can't wait to get to Canelo and Benavidez. I've been waiting for that fight for years. And I've been kind of building it up. So, looking forward to it. No, the worst Canelo has been buzzed was against Cotto, says Chop. Yeah, no, you're right. 19 years old, got hit with a left hook by Jose Cotto. I was at that fight. As a fan. I was at that fight at the MGM. The main event was Mayweather and Mosley. I was there with my wife, my mom, and my dad. And yeah, I remember that. I remember my dad said, "Oh, well, what's going on? Like, we thought this kid is amazing. What's going on? He's getting hurt by Cotto's little brother." And then my dad, savvy boxing mind, by the end of the fight, when Canelo stopped Cotto on the ropes, he's like, "Oh, no, he's pretty good. He's fine." And I was like, "Oh, Pops, is that bad that he got wobbled into the ropes?" And he's like, "Ah, no, he's fine." He's like, he finished up pretty good. I like him. I think he's fine. So, but yeah, you're right. No, you're right, Chop. That was the most hurt he was. But since he became a champion, from around the Austin Trout fight onwards, when he became the unified champ at 54, the most he's been hurt as a champion, I think, was that uppercut by Floyd, followed by that uppercut by Golovkin. So, Cotto's older brother, right? Not his little brother, right? Jose Cotto. J7 says, "I'm looking forward to Jermell Charlo versus Jose Benavidez." Are you, J7? Are you? It's good to have you in the chat, but are you really? I think you and the Benavidez family are the only ones. But God bless you. Gustavo Fontalba says, "Your prediction on Ramos versus Lubin. Good fight. I got Ramos. Lubin, his chin lets him down. His punch resistance lets him down. He's a very good fighter. Very good boxer puncher, but his punch resistance is an issue. Now, that being said, Lubin can win this fight. He's still 27, even though he took a lot of punishment against Fundora, but he's still just 27 in his own physical prime. And Ramos is not this come-forward Mexican fighter. He is a boxer-puncher, and he likes to keep his distance, does Ramos. He doesn't try to suffocate you and get in your chest. He has some of that in his game. But Ramos kind of likes to box, and that might work to his detriment against Lubin. Lubin might be a step ahead of him. Lubin is going to be faster. Ramos does not have quick hands. He makes up for it with really good timing and accuracy. But Lubin has much faster hands than Jesus Ramos. Well, faster hands. And if Ramos comes out boxing in the style he's comfortable with, those early rounds could start to get away from him. Frustration can start to set in. And Lubin could be on his way to the win. But I think Ramos is a really good young junior middleweight. He has really good timing. He's a smart young fighter who can, and I like his timing. I like his ability to adjust to quicker fighters. And I think that's what he will do with Lubin. And once he starts to find the mark, Lubin's punch resistance has always been an issue for him. So I think Ramos wins the fight. But if Lubin takes advantage of this kid coming out trying to box with him, uses that superior hand speed, and boxes beautifully on the outside, maybe he wins the fight. But I got Ramos. And then as for the other undercard fight, Ugas and Barrios, I got Barrios. But Las Vegas disagrees with me. Ugas is a big favorite. He's a 3-1 favorite against Barrios. And Ugas is the more filled out man. He's just more filled out through his shoulders and chest. He's the stronger welterweight. Barrios is light in the ass. He's tall, but he's light in the ass. But I liked how Barrios looked against Santiago. Ugas is entering his late 30s. He suffered a brutal fight against Errol Spence, who badly damaged his eye socket. Then he has to take a year and a half off, 18 months off basically, or 17 months off. And now Barrios, who's I think grown in confidence. He used to be very timid. He was timid with Virgil Hunter fighting Tank Davis. I saw him get a little more comfortable. I saw him a little more offensive against Keith Thurman. Now, then against Santiago, much lower level fighter than compared to Thurman and Tank, but he looked good. He looked like he was getting better, not staying stagnant like the guy who won the WBA regular belt on the co-main event of Porter and Spence when he fought, maybe his name was Akhmadov. It was an Eastern European, Russian type fighter. And yeah, he was just loading up on left hooks. And no, Barrios looked good against Santiago. I think he's younger and getting better, and he's more comfortable fighting on this level now. And I think Barrios wins. But part of that has to do with Ugas's layoff in age, so we'll see. And then Elijah Garcia in the opener tomorrow night. I like him. Again, kind of like Jesus Ramos. Not the fastest guy, but long, got some athleticism, very long at middleweight, and a good puncher, good pop in both hands, and extremely young, just 20 years old, already, almost 20-0 or so, good knockout percentage, good puncher, long arms. Elijah Garcia might be the best American middleweight prospect we got right now. Troy Isley is on the rise over there on Top Rank, but Elijah's had more fights than him, even though he wasn't an Olympian like Troy, and even though he's a couple years younger than Troy. So Elijah might be the best middleweight prospect in the USA. We'll see tomorrow night. So, Marcos Chaz says they're reporting Canelo is getting $70 million for the Charlo fight. Can I have a link to that, Marcos Chaz? I don't know about that. White Ice 2G says, will Keith Thurman ever get in the ring again? I think again, the ring again. If you want to hear something funny with Keith Thurman, go watch our Clarissa Shields interview that's going to come up, where she talked about Keith Thurman today after the weigh-in. It'll make you laugh. Ammo Williams, yeah, J7, that's a good name. Ammo Williams. Ammo, right, I didn't consider him at 60 because he started at 54, but right, he is a middleweight now, and Ammo is an excellent talent. Ammo's a dangerous fighter, but But he has had, some issues psychologically. I hope that's gotten better for him. Ammo's a nice kid when I've talked to him. Very nice kid. I remember one time he actually talked to me and Michelle Phelps. We were covering Canelo Callum Smith, I think it was. Canelo Callum Smith. And he came over to us and he goes, hey, you guys are media. How long is the media going to talk about my sparring footage that everyone's saying I was terrible and I was mean for beating the dude up and sharing it? He's like, but no one knows that guy came in off the street talking shit, calling me out, calling me a bitch, and told me to get in the ring, and that's why I did what I did and recorded it. But I just remember Ammo was, like eyes wide open, like how much longer is this what I'm going to be known for? And then shortly thereafter, he kind of had that breakdown psychologically, so that is something to concern about. I don't really question his physical talent. He's a talented, dangerous middleweight. But it's more the psychological stuff. But he's a very good name mentioned by you, J7. Are you the owner of this channel? No, I'm not. I'm the FightHype capo. I'm a capo. I'm not the Don, but I am a capo regime here at FightHype. Yeah, he is. So, let's see. I got a super chat from Raider Reaper. Thank you, brother. Said, Mexicans are having lion for the carne asada. Okay, I hear you, bro. That sounds good. I'm hungry. Actually, I got to eat something. I came home, and on the way home, I grabbed 3 of these little Ritz Bits cheeses because I knew I didn't even want to sit down and start having dinner. I'm like, let me just get to live. Let me talk to FightHype live about this fight week shit, and then I'll eat dinner. So I might have carne asada tacos myself, Raider Reaper. So Tay-Day, I'm serious as hell though. Only reason I wouldn't want to see it is because we already got these weird men out here trying to play women's sports already. Peaceful says Canelo groupies' jaws will drop. Indeed, if Charlo does what he does. Have I heard much about Tim Zoo's younger brother? Asked Antonio. Yeah, I've heard he's really good. I got Nikita Zoo. I gotta watch some tape on Nikita to give you a better opinion. But I've heard good things about him. So Skywalker says Canelo is weak on the body. I don't know about that. I've never seen Canelo hurt to the body, and because he's the short frame fighter, where you'd really have to reach down and risk getting countered in mid to close range, what Canelo is excellent at doing. I don't even see guys go to Canelo's body a whole lot. That jab stab to the body for Charlo, he's going to use that punch. He's going to use that punch for sure. If he can get it going, he could be in business. If he can establish range and stab that body like Floyd used to with the jab, like Caleb Plant was doing in the first 5 or 6 rounds against Benavidez, he can win the fight. But he's got to. That's the key punch you bring up. The jab. I brought it up, but you mentioned body. But Charlo does got to work his levels with jab. He's got to stab that body with the jab, but don't reach down there too much because you'll get countered up top, reaching down low against that short 5'8" frame. So we'll see. Conscious Gain says, what do you think about this Canelo versus Charlo being a draw with the rematch clause? I don't think too much of it. Canelo has a rematch clause to protect himself in case he loses. If anything, that should help Charlo's chances of getting the nod in a close fight. If anything, that should help Charlo's chances of winning a 115, 113 fight where he doesn't have to win a 116, 112, or 117, 111 just to get a decision. Because if Canelo does have a rematch clause, then it's like it's all good. We can give Charlo the fight. They'll just fight again, and the second fight will be bigger. So, if anything, it might help Charlo that Canelo has a rematch clause. White Ice 2G says Texas can't take another L. I think they will tomorrow. I'm sorry. I do think Charlo will take the L, but I think Mario Barrios will ease some of that pain for you. I think Barrios will pull off his upset. I don't think Jermell Charlo will pull off his, but credit to him if he does. McCaskill versus Shields. Oh my God, Clarissa Shields all day. None of these girls are beating Clarissa Shields. I'd like to see the Shadeja Green fight, but Clarissa beats her too, I think. I don't think anybody beats Clarissa Shields. Not anytime soon. I've said that since she turned pro. When she turned pro, I said this is going to be the greatest female fighter of all time, and she is. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. She's, I know women's boxing has like 1/10 of the participants of men's boxing. The talent pool is much more shallow. But she's as dominant an athlete in her sport as anybody in sports right now that I could think of. So that counts for something, doesn't it? No matter how shallow or deep the talent pool is. Angry Casual fan said Barrios is about to get destroyed, man. Maybe he is. Las Vegas knows what the hell they're talking about, and they got him a significant favorite. I don't think so, man. I'll say this, though. Ugas did look good at the weigh-in. He did look good at the weigh-in. He doesn't look old in the face. His body looked in shape. He looked like the stronger man than Mario Barrios, who I said is light in the ass. But that youth, man. And Barrios has long arms, and Ugas stays in front of you. He's not going to be hard to find for this younger fighter. I got Barrios. We'll see. If Charlo wins, is it the best upset in 10 years? Nah, it's not. Andy Ruiz was a bigger upset against Joshua. It'd be an amazing win. It'd be an upset for sure, but no, it wouldn't be a huge upset. I think if we look at the odds, Charlo's about the same underdog that Bivol was. Maybe Bivol was slightly less, but yeah. Again, it'd be a big upset, 90 Wookie, but it wouldn't be. I think just off top, Ruiz and Joshua is a bigger upset. Do you think Canelo, Antonio says, do you think Canelo will aim chopping Charlo's biceps to get his guard down in later rounds? I think it's in play. Yeah, I think it's possible. Canelo hasn't been doing it since it didn't work in the Bivol fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he likes to do if you're going to lay in the ropes in the high guard. If you lay in the ropes in the high guard, he'll target right here. So if that's what Charlo's going to do at different spots in the fight, I think Canelo will do that. Charlo will beat Canelo like Castaño, says Peaceful. Maybe so, but I don't think so. He is not in that fashion. He has to fight a different fight than he did against Castaño, even though he won the rematch by knockout. He did not control the center of the ring. So I don't think so, but we'll see. So you have to win 11 rounds to get a draw with Canelo, Angry Casual. It's not true. Bivol won 7 or 8 rounds. I know. I really do feel like people exaggerated how well Bivol beat Canelo. Look, he beat him. There's no doubt about that. But I thought it was like 8-4, maybe 7-5 even. Canelo won those first 3 or 4 rounds. Everybody was saying about the judges after the fight, how could they have had Canelo up 4-zip? I didn't think that was a terrible scorecard. Maybe it should have been 39-37, but no, Canelo was doing his thing the first 3 or 4 rounds. And Bivol didn't do much until the 5th and 6th when Bivol turned it up, and then after he started to turn it up in 5 and 6, Canelo gassed and Bivol took over the fight. I think Canelo only won 1 more round in the second half, so he only won 5 rounds max if you're giving him benefit of the doubt. But I definitely think he won 4 rounds against Bivol, and then Bivol never really hurt him. Bivol never fully committed to his shots. He threw just enough to make sure the counter wouldn't get him back, and he won a decision. But I don't think he kicked Canelo's ass and hurt him and busted him up or none of that. He beat him. So, and he beat him, and he didn't need to win 11 or 10 rounds to get that decision. He won 7, 8, maybe 9 if you really liked his work, and he got the decision that he deserved. So that might not necessarily be true. Angry Casual fan says, I don't think Canelo is as fast as Castaño with the combos. You're right. I've seen them both up close, and Castaño does have faster hands than Canelo, but Canelo has better timing than Castaño, better accuracy than Castaño, and he's pretty fast too. Not as fast as Castaño. You're right. Castaño had some quick hands in his combinations when Charlo would lay on the rope, especially that first fight. So, you know, that's fair. I mean, that's fair and to be expected from a smaller man, a 154-pounder compared to a 68, but Canelo's got that deceptive speed, man, and, you know, he's got deceptive speed for a guy at his build and his punching power. Nah, he kicked his ass, Sean. Says Shine. Okay, fair enough. That's how you feel. I mean, he won. He didn't bust his face up. He didn't drop him or hurt him. He won. He won 8 rounds to 4. You know, he took over after the 5th or 6th, but Canelo did his thing the first 4, and then Bivol took over after that. So let's see. That's true, Wally. The Austin Trout card was favorable to Canelo, but Canelo won the fight. Yeah, but it was a lot closer than the judges had it. That's true. That's true. Canelo's gotten some bullshit cards here and there. But I'm just saying, not necessarily you got to win 10 to get them. It's been proven by Bivol. You could win 8 and get the dub. Canelo hits like David. Canelo could punch, man. He's only punched harder through great strength programs as he's moved up in weight. Who you got? Bivol versus Arthur. Lyndon I got Bivol. Shine. I got Bivol. I think Bivol's the best light heavyweight in the game. I understand, though, if you think Beterbiev is just a more dangerous fighter than Bivol. He's top 3, top 4 pound for pound knockout artist in boxing, but Angry Casual Fan said, let's talk about Charlo looking fat and nasty at the weigh-in. Well, he didn't look fat. I think most of us would be happy with our physique if we looked like Jermell Charlo did on the weigh-in today. But he looked like a blown-up junior middleweight. He didn't look like Canelo did, a guy who's been acclimated and fully grown and transitioned his body into a 168-pound frame. Charlo looked like a blown-up junior middleweight at the weigh-in, So we'll see. But is Jermell Morton still on the undercard? That's a good question. I didn't see him weigh in. I think he is. Yeah, he is. I believe so. What's up, bro? Keep up the great work, says Chikai. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. But all right, chat. That's about it. We're over 100 minutes. I apologize for some low energy today if that was the case. It's been a long fight week, but it's been fun, man. It's a blessing to cover these big fights and talk about them with you guys. I hope we have a lot of fun tomorrow night after the fight. And then I'll go live Sunday morning, too, and probably still do the Z-Cap Mondays. So get used to this face for a couple days. But thank you, everybody, for joining today. Thank you for everyone who had a super chat. Sucks we weren't able to have the fans on, but it's Friday night. People got better shit to do than to talk boxing with me on the live. We'll try it again at another time. But thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight. I have fun. And God bless and enjoy the fights, everybody. May the best man